The first thing Amara felt was the cold air brushing her bare skin. It wasn't her room. She opened her eyes slowly, her head pounding like someone had knocked her hard. The ceiling above her was white and high, and the bed she lay on was too soft, too clean. She sat up quickly, her heart racing. Her eyes moved across the room. Curtains. Big white ones. A flat-screen TV on the wall. A table with a tray of untouched food. A huge mirror. A hotel. Her chest tightened. Her mouth was dry. She looked down at herself and froze. She wasn't in the clothes she wore yesterday. In fact, she was barely wearing anything. She yanked the white bedsheet up to cover her chest. Her hands trembled. Fear rose in her throat like a bitter taste. "What is this?" she whispered to herself. "What's going on?" She swung her legs off the bed and stood, weak and dizzy. Her feet touched the soft carpet as she looked around the room, confused and shaking. Where was her phone? Her bag? Her clothes? Then she saw it. A folded piece of paper on the bedside table. She picked it up slowly and opened it. The handwriting was neat, bold. "You don't know me yet, but I didn't touch you. You were brought here against your will. I'm sorry. CD." Her heart dropped. "What do you mean I was brought here?" Tears rushed to her eyes as she fell back onto the bed, still holding the note. Her body felt heavy. Her mind raced. She tried to remember the last thing from yesterday. Bits and pieces floated in her head. She remembered dressing up. She remembered Ngozi handing her a glass of red wine. She remembered Chuka's smile as they toasted. She remembered laughing. And then, nothing. Everything else was a blur. Like a part of her memory had been stolen. Suddenly, her eyes landed on something else, something she hadn't noticed earlier. A small camera, hidden high up in the corner of the room, its red light blinking. Her chest tightened again. Was someone recording her? Had someone watched her all night? She felt sick, humiliated, afraid. Who would do this to me? She wrapped the bedsheet tighter around herself and sank to the floor beside the bed. Her whole body shook with silent cries. She didn't understand what had happened, but deep in her heart, she felt something terrible had been done to her. Someone had betrayed her. She looked at the note again. CD. Who was CD? What did he mean? I didn't touch you? And why did this feel like the beginning of a nightmare that wasn't going to end? She sat there in silence for a long time, her tears soaking into the bedsheet, her world falling apart, one piece at a time. Hey there. Welcome to the channel. So glad you're here. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. It seriously helps more than you know. Share it with your friends and family so they don't miss out. And drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. We love hearing from you. 3 days before Amara woke up in that strange hotel room, her world was still whole. She was in her small student room, laughing softly as she ironed her favorite brown dress. The room smelled like coconut oil and fresh powder. Her textbooks were stacked neatly beside her bed. Her Bible sat right on top. Amara was the kind of girl who liked peace. She didn't talk too much, and she didn't dress loudly like her stepsister Ngozi. She wasn't the most popular girl on campus, but those who knew her loved her calm spirit. She had a soft voice and a kind heart. Her phone buzzed on the table. Chuka Red Heart Hash. She smiled. Her fiancé was calling. "Hey baby," she said, picking up. "Amara." His deep voice came through, smooth and gentle. "Are you free tonight? I want to take you out." She giggled. "Where to?" "You'll see. It's a surprise," he said, chuckling. "Just wear something pretty." She felt warm inside. Chuka always knew how to make her smile. They had been together for 2 years, and even though people whispered that a man like Chuka, tall, fine, and rich, would never settle for a simple girl like her, Amara believed their love was real. Later that evening, she wore her brown dress and rubbed lip gloss on her lips. She didn't like makeup much, but she wanted to look good for Chuka. As she stepped out of the gate, she saw Ngozi standing by the car. Ngozi looked her up and down, smirking. "You're wearing that." Amara blinked. "What's wrong with it?" "Nothing," Ngozi said, flipping her long wig and sliding into the car. "It's cute, if you're going to church." Chuka came around and opened the car door for Amara. "You look beautiful," he whispered in her ear. That night, they went to a private dinner at a rooftop restaurant in Victoria Island. The lights sparkled, and soft music played in the background. Chuka held her hand across the table. Amara felt like the luckiest girl in the world. Halfway through the meal, Chuka leaned in. "There's someone I want you to meet." "Who?" "A potential investor," he said. This deal could change my life. She smiled. That's amazing, Chuka. But I need you to come with me tomorrow. Just show your face. You don't have to say anything. Me? Why? He smiled. You're my good luck charm. Amara blushed. Okay, anything for you. What she didn't know was that this would be the first step toward the biggest betrayal of her life. The next day, Amara wore a simple red gown and brushed her natural hair into a bun. Chuka picked her up in his car and they drove to one of the most expensive hotels in the city. They waited in a lounge for a few minutes. Then a tall man in a black native outfit walked in. He was handsome, not in a flashy way, but quiet and intense. His skin was smooth, his jaw sharp, and his presence filled the room. Chief Daniel, Chuka said, standing quickly and shaking his hand. The man nodded slowly. His eyes moved from Chuka to Amara, and stayed there. Amara smiled politely and looked away, but she felt it. The weight of his eyes. Not in a creepy way. It was different. He was trying to figure her out. Chief Daniel didn't shake her hand. He simply nodded. I thought you said you were coming alone, Chief Daniel said, his voice calm. She's just here to keep me company, Chuka said with a laugh. Chief Daniel Saturday. They spoke about numbers, investments, and future plans. But Amara noticed something strange. Chief Daniel hardly looked at Chuka. His eyes always found their way back to her. After 30 minutes, the meeting ended. I'll think about it, Chief Daniel said, rising to leave. No promises. Chuka forced a smile. Of course, sir. Thank you. When Chief Daniel left, Chuka's jaw tightened. He didn't speak much in the car. He dropped Amara off with a small kiss, but his mind was far away. That night, Chuka called Ngozi. He's not interested, Chuka said coldly. But I saw something. What? The way he looked at Amara. Ngozi was quiet for a moment. Then she said, What are you thinking? Chuka's voice dropped low. Dangerous. I'm thinking, if he won't give me the contract through the front door, maybe we will enter through the back. Chuka couldn't sleep that night. He lay in bed beside his phone, staring at the ceiling, his jaw clenched. He wasn't thinking about Amara. He wasn't even thinking about Ngozi, who had just sent him pictures in red lingerie. No. His mind was stuck on that meeting. Chief Daniel, the way the man looked at Amara. Not with hunger, not with desire, but like she was something rare. That silent pause. The way Chief Daniel's eyes followed her even when Chuka was talking. The way he said, no promises. Chuka had worked hard on that pitch for months. He had practiced the numbers, polished the proposal, even made a fancy slideshow. But Chief Daniel hadn't been impressed by any of it. Yet, one smile from Amara and the man's eyes softened. One laugh from her and Chief Daniel had lost focus for 5 seconds. It made Chuka feel small. Invisible. He hated that feeling. Ngozi called the next morning. What's the update? He said no, Chuka muttered, pacing the room. She hissed. After all the talking? What now? Chuka stopped walking. His voice dropped. He's interested in Amara. Ngozi laughed. And so? He won't touch her. They say he's allergic to women. That's the point. He looked at her like he forgot he was allergic. Ngozi's voice turned serious. So what do you want to do? Silence. Then Chuka said the words that would change everything. We give him Amara, and make it look like he touched her. Later that day, Chuka took Amara out for lunch. He held her hand, kissed her forehead, acted like nothing was wrong. She giggled, happy and in love. He stared at her across the table and smiled. In his mind, the plan was forming fast. I'll send her to his room, record it, and threaten to leak it. Whether he touches her or not, the footage alone will be enough to ruin him. That'll make him sign the deal. All he needed was access to the hotel, a hidden camera, and a way to make Amara sleep without questions. Ngozi would handle the drink. 2 days later, Chuka told Amara they had been invited to a small private dinner with Chief Daniel. He finally agreed to invest, Chuka said, smiling wide. We're going to celebrate. Amara was happy for him. She didn't notice the strange glint in Ngozi's eyes when she handed her a cup of zobo in the living room. Just something to calm your nerves before the event, Ngozi said sweetly. Amara sipped it. It's cold, she said, smiling. Yeah, I added ice. Minutes later, her head started spinning. She blinked fast. I feel dizzy. Chuka caught her as she fell forward. He held her like a lover would. But his heart was ice. Perfect, he whispered. They dressed her in a black silk gown. Make her look expensive, Chuka said, fixing her hair. Like a gift. Ngozi rolled her eyes. He better be worth all this trouble. Chuka placed the tiny camera inside a flower vase beside the hotel bed. The red light blinked faintly. He lifted Amara carefully and laid her on the bed. She was breathing softly, eyes shut, completely unaware of what was happening. Ngozi sprayed perfume on her neck. Done. Chuka stepped back and stared. There she was, the girl who trusted him with her heart, the girl who called him my love, the girl who once prayed for his success. Now lying like a doll in another man's room. Let's go, Chuka said, locking the door behind them. Showtime. An hour later, Chief Daniel walked into the suite. He closed the door and paused when he saw the girl on the bed. Confused, he stepped closer. Amara. His heartbeat slowed. He knew something was wrong. This wasn't a mistake. This was a setup. But then, something happened. As he moved to check her pulse, her hand brushed his wrist. He froze. No rash. No pain. No swelling. His chest rose and fell slowly. He hadn't touched a woman without reacting in years. But this girl, something was different. He looked at her face, so peaceful, so unaware. He stepped back and sat down quietly, watching her from a distance, breathing deeply. Whatever this was, it was no accident. But whoever sent her clearly didn't understand one thing. Chief Daniel wasn't a monster. He picked up the room phone. Security, he said calmly. Lock down the hotel floor. I want all camera footage from the past 4 hours. Chief Daniel sat still in the hotel suite, watching the girl sleep. The lights were soft, and the room was quiet, but his heart wasn't. It was beating fast. He had faced boardrooms full of billionaires. He had signed contracts that shook entire industries. He had made headlines for being a genius. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for this. Her name was Amara. He remembered it from a brief meeting days ago. The girl Chuka brought. The girl who smiled kindly, who looked around like the world was still full of good things. The only one in that meeting who didn't look like they were trying to take something from him. Now here she was, lying on his bed like a fallen angel, unmoving, unaware. But what shocked him most was what didn't happen. He had touched her. Not fully. Just a brush. But nothing had happened. No rash. No burning skin. No painful itching like every other time a woman touched him. For years, he had lived in fear of touch. Even hugs were dangerous. Love was impossible. But this girl had changed that in seconds. Chief Daniel rose from the chair and walked over slowly. He leaned down, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. Still no reaction. His fingers didn't hurt. His skin didn't flare. It felt like peace. But something was off. He looked around the room again. His sharp eyes scanned every corner. Then he saw it, a tiny light blinking from the flower vase near the bed. He walked over, lifted it, and found the hidden camera. His jaw clenched. This wasn't a mistake. This was a trap. Meanwhile, Chuka and Ngozi sat in the hotel parking lot, watching from a laptop screen inside the car. The hidden camera was connected wirelessly. Ngozi chewed gum, smirking. He's touching her. I told you this would work. Chuka nodded, eyes cold. Let's give him time. Once he does more, we pull the footage. One call, and he'll sign anything we put in front of him. What if he doesn't fall for it? He will. She's too tempting. And when he realizes she's underage. She's not underage. Doesn't matter. The footage will still ruin him. They laughed. Back in the suite, Chief Daniels unplugged the camera, crushed it in one hand, and dropped it into the trash. Then he picked up the room phone again. Security? Bring up the floor recordings. I want to know who entered this room and when. Right away, sir. He sat beside the bed, watching her breathe. She was still unconscious, but her body shifted slightly, like she was dreaming. He sighed. This wasn't just business now. Someone had tried to use her. They tried to use him. And worse, they used her body like a pawn in a dirty game. He felt anger rise in his chest. Whoever did this didn't just mess with a billionaire. They messed with the one thing he had tried to protect his whole life, his privacy. He picked up a pen and paper from the table and began to write. You don't know me yet, but I didn't touch you. You were brought here against your will. I'm sorry. CD. He folded the paper and placed it on the bedside table. Then, carefully, he pulled the sheets up to cover her body. He opened his laptop and made a few quick clicks. He had friends in cybersecurity, private investigators, hotel managers. In less than an hour, He would know who booked the room, who planted the camera, and where the trail led. But deep down, he already knew. Chuka. And maybe, that girl he brought. The one with too much makeup and too much pride. Chief Daniel's eyes returned to Amara. She looked innocent. Unaware. Broken, maybe. But also, familiar. Like someone he was supposed to meet. An hour later, security brought him the footage. He watched quietly as the video showed Chuka carrying Amara into the room like a sleeping doll. Ngozi followed, adjusting her clothes and laughing. He paused the video. So it was true. They drugged her. Brought her here. Set him up. He stood and walked to the window, hands in his pockets. Outside, the city lights flickered. He had enough power to destroy them with one call. But for now, he wouldn't. He wanted to know more. Why her? Why risk so much? And most of all, who was Amara, really? At 3 a.m., Chief Daniel left the suite. He told security not to disturb her and to let her wake up on her own. A female staff member would be assigned to help her when she did. Before he left, he looked at her one last time. She shifted in her sleep, a small frown on her face, as if her soul knew something had gone wrong. He stepped out of the room, the door clicking shut behind him. And just like that, the game had changed. But the players didn't know it yet. Amara woke up with a sharp gasp. Her heart was racing. Her body was shaking. For a second, she thought it was all just a dream. The soft bed, the strange room, the missing memory. But the moment she sat up and saw the tall curtains, the hotel TV, and the cold tray of untouched food, she knew it was real. Her throat felt dry. Her head was still spinning. She looked around, confused and scared. Then she saw the note. You don't know me yet, but I didn't touch you. You were brought here against your will. I'm sorry. Tears filled her eyes. She didn't understand what happened, but deep inside her chest, she felt something had been taken from her. Not her body, but her safety, her trust, her peace. She sat still for a long time, holding the bedsheet close, shaking. Then slowly, she got dressed in the clothes someone had folded neatly on a chair, the same dress she wore the night before. Her bag and phone were beside it. Her hands trembled as she picked up her phone. 6 missed calls. All from Chuka. Her heart dropped. She didn't remember calling him. She didn't remember anything after drinking the wine Ngozi gave her. How did she end up here? Did he know? She arrived home just before noon. Ngozi opened the gate. She wore a towel and had soap bubbles in her ears. Our queen has returned, she said, smiling in that fake way she always did. Amara didn't speak. She walked past her. Hope you enjoyed your night, oh, Ngozi said behind her. You looked fine when you left. Amara paused. When did I leave? Ngozi blinked. You don't remember? Amara turned to face her. I remember the drink you gave me. Ngozi laughed. So one drink knocked you out like that. You should learn to hold your liquor, Abeg. Amara's lips trembled. Did you take me somewhere? Ngozi raised a brow. Why would I do that? She smiled again and walked back into the house, humming. Amara stood still in the hallway, her heart breaking slowly. She was starting to feel it. The cracks. The shift. The realization that something was wrong, deeply wrong. Chuka arrived a few hours later. He burst into her room and hugged her like he hadn't seen her in years. Baby. Thank God you're okay. Amara just stood there. I've been calling and calling. You disappeared. I was going crazy. I woke up in a hotel room, she said softly. Chuka's smile didn't drop. Yes, I know. You blacked out at the dinner party. You were drunk, so I got a room for you to rest. Who was there? Just me and you. Her body stiffened. I don't remember anything. Chuka cupped her face gently. You were safe. I promise. I took care of you. But when I woke up, you weren't there. I left early. I had a meeting. You were still asleep. Amara looked into his eyes. For the first time in 2 years, she didn't see warmth. She saw something else. Lies. Why was there a note from someone named CD? Chuka paused. Then I laughed. C.D. Maybe a hotel worker. Who knows? Babe, don't stress your head. You were tired. You're okay now. That's what matters. She nodded slowly, but her chest was tight. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust that the man she loved would never do such a thing to her. But something deep inside her whispered, run. Meanwhile, far across town, Chief Daniels was watching hotel footage on a screen in his private office. He had already gotten the full report. Room booked under a fake name. Hidden camera planted. Amara was carried in unconscious. Chuka and Ngozi both on video. He leaned back in his chair, eyes dark. He had seen many evil things in the business world. Greed, lies, corruption. But this was different. This was personal. They used a girl. A good girl. And tried to use him. But Chief Daniel wasn't the type to shout or throw punches. He was the type to destroy people quietly, completely. And this time, he wouldn't just sit back. He picked up his phone and called his investigator. Find out everything about Chuka and Ngozi, he said calmly. Family, business, school, secrets. I want it all. Then he paused. And keep an eye on Amara. Make sure she's safe. But don't let her know, yet. That night, Amara sat on her bed, staring at the ceiling. She had deleted the note. She had erased the missed calls. But she couldn't erase the way she felt. Like something had been stolen from her. And the people around her were pretending. She didn't know it yet, but the truth was already chasing her. And when it finally caught up, her life would never be the same again. Amara didn't sleep that night. She lay on her bed, eyes wide open, staring into the darkness. Her heart felt heavy. The house was quiet, but her mind was loud. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that hotel room. She saw the blinking light on the vase. She felt the cold air on her bare skin. And she remembered the note. You were brought here against your will. That sentence kept playing over and over in her head. She wanted to believe Chuka, but something didn't feel right. He was too calm, too prepared, too smooth. And Ngozi, her smile had lies hiding behind it. Amara had trusted them both. But now, she didn't even trust the air around her. The next morning, Amara sat in the kitchen, holding a cup of warm tea she didn't want to drink. Ngozi walked in wearing a short silk robe. She looked like she had just stepped out of a beauty magazine. You didn't sleep well, she asked, opening the fridge. Amara didn't answer. Ngozi poured herself some cold juice and leaned against the counter. Look, I know you're acting all confused, she said casually. But if you did something with Chief Daniels, just own it. We won't judge you. Amara's hand tightened around her cup. What do you mean? Ngozi shrugged. You left the house looking fresh. You came back like a ghost. And you keep talking about a hotel. So either something happened, or you're pretending. I was drugged. Ngozi sipped her juice slowly. Are you sure it wasn't just alcohol? I didn't drink alcohol. You had Zobo. Amara's eyes locked on hers. You gave me that Zobo. Ngozi's smile faded slightly. Then she said, stop being dramatic. If something bad happened, why didn't you call the police? Amara stood, leaving the tea untouched. Because I'm still trying to believe my own family could do this to me. She walked out, heart pounding. Hours later, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something told her to answer. Hello. A deep, calm voice replied, Amara. She froze. Yes. Who's this? This is Chief Daniels. Her breath caught. I'm sorry to call you like this, he said. But I need to know if you're okay. I think so. There was a short silence. Then Chief Daniels said, I didn't touch you. I need you to know that. I believe you, she whispered. I also know what happened to you and who was behind it. Amara sat down slowly, her legs weak. You do. I have everything. Security footage. Audio. Even camera details. Her hand flew to her mouth. Chuka and Ngozi set you up. They planted a hidden camera. They thought I would take advantage of you. They planned to blackmail me. Amara couldn't breathe. I've been watching over you since then. I didn't know how to approach you. But I couldn't keep silent anymore. Tears filled her eyes. Why would they do this to me? Because you were innocent. And powerful without knowing it. There was a soft knock on her front gate. Chief Daniels' voice came again. I sent someone with the evidence. You don't have to trust me. But I think you need to see the truth for yourself. 30 minutes later, Amara sat in her room watching a USB video file on her laptop. The screen showed Chuka carrying her into the hotel room. Her body was limp. Her eyes closed. Ngozi laughed in the background. They laid her down, fixed her hair, pulled up her dress to look more seductive. Amara covered her mouth, shaking. She saw Chuka adjust the vase, hiding the camera. She heard him say, make her look expensive. Like a gift. Tears rolled down her cheeks. This was no longer a nightmare. It was real. Her own fiancé. Her own stepsister. The people she lived with. They used her like she was nothing. like she was a tool to get money. Not a person. Not a soul. Just a body. She paused the video and curled into herself, crying into her pillow. That night, she didn't come out for dinner. She ignored Chuka's messages. She blocked Ngozi's number. And for the first time in her life, Amara felt something new rising inside her. It wasn't just sadness. It wasn't fear. It was fire. She didn't know what her next step would be. But one thing was sure. She would never trust them again. And she would never let them get away with it. Far across town, Chief Daniels looked at the file folder on his desk, full of information about Amara's past, her school records, her late mother, everything. He closed it and stared out the window. "You deserve better," he whispered. And deep inside, he already knew. He didn't just want to protect her anymore. He was slowly falling for her. Amara didn't come out of her room for 2 days. She turned off her phone. She didn't eat much. She barely slept. Her thoughts were loud and heavy, crashing into each other like thunder in her head. The video kept replaying in her mind. Chuka's voice, Ngozi's laugh, the sight of her own unconscious body being laid on that bed like she was an object, not a person. Every part of her heart ached. She loved Chuka. Truly. She prayed for him, supported him, gave him everything she had. And now she couldn't understand how the same person could do something so evil to her. Her chest felt hollow, but her soul was slowly filling with something else. Anger. On the third morning, she stepped out of her room. Ngozi was in the living room painting her nails. She looked up, surprised. "Ow, Sleeping Beauty has finally woken up." Amara didn't speak. She walked past her and went to the kitchen. Ngozi followed, still holding the nail polish brush. "You're acting strange, oh. What's the problem now?" Amara opened the fridge without looking at her. "You think I don't know what you did?" Ngozi paused. "What are you talking about?" "I saw the video," Amara said coldly. "Silence. I saw you and Chuka carry me into that hotel room. I saw you fix my dress and plant the camera. I saw everything." Ngozi slowly put the Polish bottle on the counter. Her eyes narrowed. "So, he finally told you." Amara turned to her, eyes burning. "You both betrayed me." Ngozi chuckled. "Betrayed? Please. Don't act like a saint. You were always the soft one. Always the innocent one. Men love that act. I was just doing what I had to do." Amara stepped closer. "You used me." "No, sweetie. I upgraded you. That's the closest you'll ever get to a billionaire." Amara slapped her. Ngozi froze, her hand on her cheek. Amara's voice shook. "Don't ever speak to me again." She walked away, grabbed her small travel bag, and headed for the door. Ngozi shouted after her. "Where will you go? You're nothing without us." Amara didn't look back. She called her friend Sandra, who lived in a small flat near campus. Sandra welcomed her with open arms and didn't ask too many questions. "You can stay here for as long as you need," she said, placing a blanket on the couch. That night, Amara finally slept. Not peacefully, but without pretending. The next morning, her phone rang. It was a new number. She answered quietly. "Hello. It's me," Chief Daniels said. "I just wanted to check on you." Amara sat up. "I left the house. I couldn't stay there anymore." "I understand." There was silence. Then Chief Daniel said softly, "I'm proud of you." Amara blinked. "Why?" "Because you're stronger than they thought." Tears filled her eyes. No one had ever said that to her before. "Thank you," she whispered. "I want to see you," he said. "Only if you're ready." She nodded. "I think I am." They met at a quiet cafe by the water. Chief Daniels wore a simple black shirt and jeans. He looked more like a normal man than a billionaire. Amara came in with her natural hair tied back and no makeup. She looked tired, but also stronger. They sat by the window. "I'm sorry this happened to you," Chief Daniels said gently. "It wasn't your fault," she replied. He looked at her hands resting on the table. "I didn't think I would ever feel close to someone again. But you've changed something in me." Amara looked up at him. "You said you're allergic to women." He nodded. "It's been that way since I was a teenager. My body reacts badly to physical touch. Doctors couldn't explain it. But not with me." He smiled softly. "With you, I feel calm." They sat in silence, watching each other. Then, slowly, Chief Daniel reached across the table and took her hand. No reaction. No pain. Just warmth. Amara didn't pull away. For the first time since everything happened, she felt safe. Not because someone was protecting her, but because she was beginning to take back control of her own story. That evening, Chuka returned home to find Amara's room empty. He searched everywhere, called her phone, texted non-stop. Ngozi sat on the couch, holding an ice pack to her cheek. She found out. Chuka's face twisted with rage. How? Chief Daniel told her. Chuka punched the wall. This isn't over, he hissed. Nobody embarrasses me. Not him. Not her. But what Chuka didn't know was that Chief Daniels wasn't done either. And next time, it wouldn't just be a warning. It would be war. The wind was gentle that afternoon. Amara stood by the water, watching ripples dance across the surface. The sun touched her skin softly, like it was trying to comfort her. She hadn't said a word in 5 minutes, but Chief Daniels didn't rush her. He stood beside her, hands in his pockets, giving her space. I used to come here with my mum, Amara finally said. Before she died. Chief Daniel nodded, quiet. He understood the pain in her voice. He didn't ask more questions. He just let her speak. She would bring bread to feed the ducks. We'd sit on that rock, she pointed, and talk about life. She always told me, people will hurt you, but never let them change your heart. Chief Daniel looked at her. She sounds like a wise woman. Amara smiled weakly. She was everything. They stood in silence again. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. There was something safe about being near him, not because he was rich or powerful, but because he didn't pretend. He didn't try to fix her pain or rush her healing. He just listened. That was something Chuka never did. Later, they sat at a small food spot under a tree, eating roasted corn and pear. Chief Daniels wasn't used to such places, but he didn't complain. He ate with both hands and even laughed when the corn got stuck in his teeth. Amara watched him and shook her head. So you're human after all. He chuckled. You thought I wasn't. You looked like someone who only eats food cooked by chefs wearing gloves. He grinned. Not when I'm with you. Her heart skipped. She didn't know what this was becoming. Friendship, healing, maybe even something more. But it felt good. It felt honest. And it scared her. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Chuka was losing control. He sat in his car, eyes red from lack of sleep. His phone rang over and over again. His business partner had pulled out of their deal. His office rent was overdue. His last pitch had been rejected. He blamed Amara. She ruined everything, he muttered. She made him reject my offer. She turned him against me. He didn't know Chief Daniel had never planned to sign anything from the beginning. He didn't know that his own actions were the reason his life was falling apart. And now, he was desperate. He picked up his phone and called Ngozi. We're going to fix this, he said. Ngozi laughed bitterly. There's nothing left to fix. She's gone. She's with him now. With him? Yes, she spat. Chief Daniels. I saw them at the cafe, holding hands like lovebirds. Chuka's blood boiled. I'll kill him. You'll do nothing, Ngozi snapped. Use your head for once. We need to get her back on our side. If we can get her to stay silent. I don't want silence. I want revenge. You'll go to jail, you idiot. Chuka hung up. His hands shook. He didn't know what to do, but one thing was clear. He couldn't lose everything. Not to Amara. Not to a man who had it all. Back at Sandra's apartment, Amara curled up on the couch. She had just returned from her outing with Chief Daniel, and her heart was still full. Not because of anything romantic, not yet, but because she felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Sandra walked in with 2 cups of juice. You like him, she teased. Amara rolled her eyes. We're just talking. Talking every day, going on walks, holding hands. Please. Amara laughed softly, then grew quiet. I don't know what this is, she said, staring at the ceiling. But it feels different. He listens. He doesn't rush me. He treats me like I matter. You do matter, Sandra said, sitting beside her. Chuka didn't see that. But this one. He sees it. Amara nodded slowly. And that night, before sleeping, she whispered to herself. Maybe I can start again. But far away, in the darkness of his room, Chuka was watching an old copy of the hotel footage on his laptop. His eyes burned with hate. And deep in his chest, a dangerous plan was already forming. The rain started slowly. Just soft drops tapping the window as Amara stood inside Chief Daniel's living room, staring at the wide glass doors. The sky outside was grey. Gentle. Like her heart, still healing, but no longer bleeding. She had come to visit him that afternoon, carrying a warm smile and a small bowl of jollof rice she made herself. "I hope it's not too spicy," she said shyly as she handed it to him. Chief Daniel took the bowl with both hands, smiling. "If it's made by you, I'm sure it's perfect." They sat in the kitchen. No suits, no guards, no assistants, just him in a simple black polo and Amara in her yellow gown with tiny sunflower prints. It felt normal. Honest. Easy. For the first time in a long while, Amara laughed. Really laughed. Chief Daniel had told her about the time he accidentally wore mismatched shoes to a board meeting and didn't notice until a journalist pointed it out. The image made her cover her face with her palm, giggling. "I'm not as polished as people think," he said. She looked at him for a long time. That's the part one liked the most. Later, as the rain grew heavier, thunder rolled gently in the distance. They moved to the living room, the lights dim, the air calm. Amara stood near the window, watching the water race down the glass. She hugged herself slightly. Chief Daniel came and stood beside her. Neither of them spoke. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was soft, deep, safe. "I used to love the rain," Amara said. "Until that night. Now it reminds me of pain." Chief Daniel looked at her gently. "Then let's give it a new meaning." She turned slowly to face him. He was standing close now. Close enough for her to see the quiet fire in his eyes. The way he looked at her, not with lust, not with pity, but with respect. With K. "I don't know what this is," she whispered, voice shaking. "Or if I'm ready." "I won't rush you," he replied. "Even if it takes forever." Her eyes dropped to his lips. She didn't mean to. It just happened. And then, softly, naturally, his hand reached up to tuck a loose curl behind her ear. He leaned in, but only halfway. He gave her the choice. And after a long second, Amara closed the space between them. Their lips met. It was not wild or fast. It was slow, warm, and deep. A kiss that felt like safety. A kiss that said, "You're not broken. You're seen. You're wanted, just as you are." When they pulled apart, Amara's eyes were glassy. Not from sadness, but from something she hadn't felt in a long time. Joy. She rested her forehead against his chest. Chief Daniel held her close, one hand on her back, the other gently rubbing her arm. "I don't know where this will go," she whispered. He kissed her forehead. "Me neither. But I know I'm not going anywhere." Across town, Chuka sat in his car, watching them through a pair of binoculars. He had followed her, seen her enter the gate, waited for hours in the rain. And now, he had seen the kiss. He clenched his fists on the steering wheel. His heart was burning with anger. His world had collapsed, and now the girl he once controlled had moved on. To him. He spat. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Are you ready?" he asked the man on the other end. "Yes," the voice replied. "Everything is set." "Good. It's time." He hung up. This wasn't just about love anymore. This was war. And Chuka wasn't ready to lose. But what he didn't know was that Chief Daniels had already sent all the evidence to his lawyer, and Amara was no longer the quiet, scared girl who let pain break her. She had kissed healing on the lips. And now, she was ready to fight back. Amara stood in front of the mirror, fixing her earrings. Her heart was calm, but strong. She wore a simple cream-colored gown that flowed to her ankles. Her hair was packed into a neat bun. No makeup, just clear skin and clear purpose. She was meeting with Chief Daniel's lawyer today. It was time. A week had passed since the kiss. Everything had changed. Not because of the kiss itself, but because Amara had finally chosen herself. She no longer flinched when people called her name. She no longer avoided mirrors. She no longer cried over people who had proven they never deserved her love. The moment she let Chief Daniel hold her hand and the moment she saw her reflection in his eyes, that was when she knew she would never go back to being the girl who begged for crumbs of respect. Now, it was time to finish the story properly. With truth. Chief Daniels was already waiting for her at the law office. He stood when she entered, smiling. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded. "Let's do this." His lawyer brought out a file, the same one with all the evidence, the hotel camera footage, the hotel security recordings, text messages, audio clips, and screenshots from Chuka's fake email used to enter the hotel. "I've prepared the charges," the lawyer said. "And I've sent a copy to the police. They'll be picked up today." Amara exhaled. Just like that, justice had begun. Meanwhile, Chuka was at his usual bar, sipping a drink and complaining to a friend. I don't know what happened, he grumbled. One moment she's mine, the next, she's acting like some billionaire's wife. The friend raised a brow. You sure it wasn't because you were sleeping with her stepsister? Chuka frowned. How did you? The man shrugged. Everyone knew. Ngozi used to brag about it. Chuka sat back, stunned. She said you two had a thing even while you were dating Amara. That you told her Amara was just a temporary wife, until you blew. Chuka's mouth fell open. He had no idea Ngozi had told anyone. And worse, he didn't know Amara was already standing behind him, hearing every word. Amara had followed him. Chief Daniel had sent her the location through his investigator. She wanted to see it with her own eyes. Not just the betrayal, but the full truth. She stepped forward slowly. Chuka turned and froze. Hey, Amara. Her voice was calm. Steady. So I was your backup plan. Chuka stood up, panicking. No, it's not what you think. It was just mistakes. I love you. Amara looked him dead in the eye. You drugged me. You sold me to another man. You cheated on me. You humiliated me. Please. I was desperate. She shook her head. No. You were evil. Suddenly, 2 police officers entered the bar. Mr. Chuka and Ngozi, one of them said. Chuka's face went pale. What's going on? You're under arrest for attempted blackmail, drugging, and unlawful recording. You have the right to remain silent. Before they could finish, Chuka turned to Amara. You set me up. No, she said firmly. You set yourself up. As the police dragged him out, people in the bar stared. Some filmed. Others whispered. Amara didn't move. She just watched it happen, feeling free. That evening, she sat with Chief Daniels at a rooftop garden he'd set up just for her. He brought her fresh juice and placed a small velvet box on the table. Amara blinked. What's this? He smiled gently. Not what you think. She opened it. Inside was a silver necklace. Hanging from it was a tiny heart and a letter A. It's not a ring, he said softly. Not yet. But it's a promise. That I'll be here, no matter how long your healing takes. No pressure. No rushing. Just me, choosing you every day. Amara felt tears rise, but she smiled through them. She wore the necklace and touched it gently. Thank you. For seeing me, when I forgot how to see myself. He held her hand across the table. And for the first time in a long time, Amara believed in love again. Not the kind that steals, lies, or hurts, but the kind that protects, heals, and waits. 1 year later, Amara stood in front of a wide mirror, adjusting the soft veil on her head. Her white wedding dress hugged her gently, flowing like a dream. Her eyes sparkled, not just with makeup, but with peace. With joy. With the kind of quiet strength that comes from surviving the worst and still choosing love. She had finally graduated from school, with good grades, a clear mind, and a heart full of dreams. Chief Daniels, now just Daniels to her, had kept every promise. He didn't rush her. He walked with her. And when she finished her exams, he surprised her with something she never expected. A boutique. A large, beautiful fashion boutique in one of the best parts of town, with her name printed in gold on the glass door, Amara's Place. I want you to have something that's yours, he had said. Something no one can ever take from you. And he meant it. He supported her dreams but never controlled them. He gave, not to own her, but to see her rise. As wedding music floated into the room, Sandra rushed in, holding the bridal bouquet. Girl, they are all waiting for you outside. Are you ready to become a wife? Amara laughed. I've been ready since the day he kissed me during the rain. They both giggled. Outside, in the soft sunlight, Chief Daniels stood at the altar in a white suit, eyes fixed on the aisle. When Amara stepped out, time seemed to stop. She walked slowly, holding her father's old Bible in one hand and her new life in the other. People whispered, she's glowing. But it wasn't the dress. It was healing. It was hope. It was a victory. As the vows were said and the rings exchanged, the priest smiled. You may now kiss the bride. And in front of everyone, friends, family, even some who once doubted her, Amara kissed the man who saw her pain, stayed through the healing, and chose her every day. Somewhere far away, in a cold prison cell, Chuka and Ngozi sat quietly. The court had found them guilty. 3 years. 3 long years behind bars. They had laughed at Amara, betrayed her, used her. But now, she was free, and they were forgotten. Back at the wedding, as Chief Daniel held Amara close during their first dance, he whispered in her ear, You were never meant to be anybody's victim. You were born to be a queen. And Amara smiled. Because she believed it now. She wasn't just loved. She was chosen.